Technology fails us. Technology fails us. We are very emotional about a particular thing. I think all of us are very emotional about education. I'm sorry. I actually got disconnected. मैं कह रही थी कि किसी भी क्षेत्र में अच्छा काम करने के लिए साधना की जरूरत है, साधन आ जाते हैं, साधना चाहिए. I have a feeling that as far as implementation of the Right to Education Act is concerned, I think somewhere or the other, we did not put in as much effort as we should have. Center and state should have worked together. There should have been no financial constraint anywhere on anybody's part. And there should have been a very sincere implementation on the ground. But yes, 10 years have passed, and I think we will be doing much more now that the national education policy has also come into place. This will all be in sync with each other. If you ask me to go by the data, why am I saying that we did not do as much as we should have done in these 10 years? I'll just go by the district information system of education data. Only 13% of all schools in India have achieved full compliance with the RTE norms. Only 13% of the schools in the country have actually complied with the RTE norms. Now, this is something which we really need to be concerned about. Government schools, government-aided schools, I think all, and also the private schools, we really need to be concerned about this. If you ask me, what was the most important aspect of the Right to Education Act and what is? I would say this 25% children within 1 kilometer radius going in of the EWS category, economically weaker sections category, going to the schools, whether private school or government aided school, whatever it is, all the private schools had been asked to take this 25% in their class, whatever the population. These 25% should belong to the EWS category. And this actually worked well. Many places it worked very well. And I'm extremely happy to inform you that here we did good job. 3.3 million students secured admission to the EWS category. 3.3 million. So here I think we did well. There was absolutely no concern about the social strata of the child, the economic situation of the child, the parental occupation. All children within 1 kilometer radius of a high-sounding private school would get admission in the private school in class 1. And I remember when I was Secretary Education, I would move with a big lathi in my hand telling all the private schools to get the children. There would be many schools would not want, but I would be behind them, you know. So I think this is something which where we have done well. We have done well on infrastructure. We have done well on gross enrollment ratio. We have come very badly failed, or rather fared very poorly on the quality front. The ASA reports can tell us. We need to have good training of the teachers, more number of teachers, and good salary package for the teachers. I'm a strong votary of good returns for the teacher. If it is 7th pay commission, all should get 7th pay commission. Absolutely no policy of appeasement when teacher recruitment is done. Friends, I'll ask you a question. When there is a recruitment by the Defense Department for the Army, for the Navy, for the Air Force, is there any kind of compromise on the quality? Can we afford that? Can the nation afford that? If not, if we are talking of the most important nation building activity, and that is teaching, how can we compromise on the quality of teachers? So I think we have to have the best of people as the teachers. My parents were teachers, one high school teacher and one college teacher. Whatever I am today is because of the sanskar and the teaching that I received from my parents. So I think it's extremely important to have good teachers in schools and colleges. Absolutely no compromise on quality. And I'm extremely serious when I say that the recruitment procedure must be as tough as possible. It should be as tough as, say, Indian Administrative Service or Defense or any other space. These are all very difficult examinations. You know this. This should be as difficult. But for that matter, we need to give proper remuneration to the teachers. Their working conditions should be very favorable to them. So I think there has been less focus on teachers training. There has been less focus on proper teacher recruitment procedures in place. I remember we had gone for a small kind of innovation, which worked well for some time. What we did was, we tried to bring out teachers' teaching manuals for the classrooms. Now, let me explain what it was. Teachers' teaching manuals, not training. I'm saying teaching manuals. Teaching manuals means all the subjects, whatever number of subjects being taught to the children, say 8 subjects are being taught to the children, which particular chapter will be consuming how many number of periods, and what would be the expected outcome of that chapter. That means, what should a child learn from that chapter? So a teacher, there were series of meetings with the teachers. I remember teachers associations. The teachers actually drafted that teachers training manual, teachers teaching manual. And they said that, okay, the light chapter in physics will have 4 periods. Then a particular person will say, no, we require 8 periods. Fine, there'll be 8 periods. So these 8 periods, then again, we would break down each particular period, what would be taught. And at the end of each chapter, there would be assessment. Students' assessment exercise. Whether the children have actually understood what was being conveyed by the teachers in those 8 periods on the light chapter. So I think we had this teacher teaching manual, and that worked very well in Odisha. Extremely well, and it had been drafted by the Teachers Association, and it was very easy for them to kind of implement these. So I think these are some innovations that we can think of as we go. My dear friends, we have talked of many things. I'm deeply interested in the concept of the school management committee in the elementary schools, in the school management and development committee in the high schools, SMDC and SMC. We are talking of SMC when we are talking of right to education. SMC plays a wonderful role with many of the SMC members as women, mothers. Extremely important to have SMC associated with the running of the school. The SMC will ensure that there is attendance, there is regular attendance, and let me honestly tell you, as we have in private schools, in government schools also, in government aided schools also, we should have parent-teacher meeting. So it would be SMC ensuring that there is a parent-teacher meeting. Every parent of a rural area, a mother, a father, must know what the child is doing, whether the child is learning or not. In fact, it's extremely important to associate the parents with the education process. This actually helps. So I think this was a landmark thing which happened due to the Right to Education Act. And I think all these state governments, not only Odisha, all these state governments must actually activate the SMCs and the SMDCs. Vocational education is another thing I bat for hugely. We have to equip children for life. Suppose a child is not very good in mathematics or English or Hindi, but he can be or she can be a good carpenter, a good plumber. What's wrong? Catch them young. Maybe class 6, class 7, then that's what the NEP is going to do this time. Immediately after class 6, there would be an assessment. A child who is not interested in learning can always go to the other side. Absolutely no problem. We should not have rigidity in our dealing with the entire education process. Let's not be rigid. let's not be rigid. A child who wants to, this rigidity is something which destroys many of the implementation processes. So I think let us not be rigid. The best part about this NEP thing which has come now is the emphasis on vocational education. Catch them young, immediately in class 6, and hone their skills in that sector. I'm sure they would do very well. So I think these are the areas that we really need to work on. And as I told you, all of us should focus on making our children holistic human beings, good members of the society, and only the nation can move forward. This is what I had to say about the right to education, and I also try to kind of link it up with the new education policy. Thank you very much, Sarkari School, National Law University, Qatar, and all the organizers. Education is my first love, and you gave me this opportunity to be associated with you today. Thank you so much. Namaskar.